While being a decade full of various troubles, the 20s were actually years full of great advancement in music. This is largely attributed to African American communities, who are believed to have invented easily one of the largest genres in music today: jazz. Jazz's strange, seemingly random musical ideas resonated with many people due to its originality, and it quickly became one of the most popular genres of the period. And it even has some influence today. In the 20s themselves, a large variety of jazz musicians revealed themselves, including Louis Armstrong, Thomas, or Fats, Waller, and Fanny Brice. As for places with the largest jazz presence, the movement had plenty of backers in New Orleans, with the funky music eventually spreading to Chicago. Jazz band members, such as Sidney Bechet and Joe Oliver, who went by the moniker of King, traveled to Chicago just before the 20s, and the enjoyment of the genre spread like wildfire after that.
Once jazz hit New York, its golden age began. Carnegie Hall became a place for people to enjoy jazz concerts, and due to the changing gender social norms of the period, jazz was widely accepted despite the unorthodox nature that so many would have shunned just years before. The Jazz Age was considered one of the most infamous times throughout New York's timeline. Most of jazz's rising is credited to African Americans. Some popular jazz bands included people like Louis Armstrong and his Hot Five, the New Orleans Rhythm Kings, and the Wolverines. Now you may be wondering, how is jazz in any way related to Gatsby? Well, from what we have read from the book, we know that Gatsby is a specialist in throwing perfect, extravagant parties. We also have to note that American culture was starting to rise at faster rates. So without the fun, popular jazz music and culture, Gatsby wouldn't be able to throw such lively parties. Much of our energetic freedom can actually be credited to the 20s too, due to flappers. Flappers are young women from the 20s that have a reputation for expressing their freedom through dancing. Flappers were very popular among our nation at the time, but from flappers alone, we're able to perceive how people would celebrate and have fun expressing themselves. This correlates with Gatsby, as a lot of the book gives us insights about his lifestyle, and many can only picture what it was like to actually attend one of his parties. In the book, we see many conflicts happen at these parties, mainly due to intoxication of characters in the book. However, as it is said, your true colors will show once you're intoxicated. So in a way, this is a perfect example of how people, one, treated each other, and two, how women express their emotions. A perfect example of this is when Myrtle gets punched in the face by Tom for talking about Daisy. This is a major factor in Gatsby, as the women in the book are more out to express their free will, and a lot of the book is spent learning personality and lore of the characters. Without the influence of jazz music rising, I believe that women would have a harder time expressing their personality. Jazz brought a lot of people together for fun and exciting times. That's why I believe it gave a really good boost for women's confidence. After all, flappers were very common among young women around the time. Without jazz or any live music, the 20s wouldn't have been as roaring as it sounds. I mean, who wants to go to dine and dance at a party that has no music? So, the next time we think about the 20s, we must give more credit towards music, as it actually did a lot more for our culture than what meets the eye.